Yo, what's up, y'all? We out here trying to get 3 degrees buffer in these streets. And you know what? It's 12:44 a.m. But one of my goals that I've had, not a New Year's resolution for 2024, but since November 20 of last year, of trying to post for 365 days straight, is still in effect. So it must be done. I was on a plane most of the afternoon today, so I didn't get a chance to do anything sooner. I did post some shorts on January 2, so I got my day in. But this is really something I wanted to talk about on New Year's Day that I also didn't get a chance to do because I was working on some other videos and some other shorts. But anyways, I managed to get out for a run. And if you know me, I've said for the longest time, I hate to run. I cannot say that anymore. I've run too much. I've done too many Spartan races. I've run a marathon. I cannot say I hate to run anymore. I won't say I love it, but I'm getting a little more comfortable with running. We'll put it that way. And New Year's Day, I wanted to get a run in because I wanted to start the new year off right. Now, mind you, the last couple weeks I've been getting a few runs in at least a week. So this wasn't something I was just trying to start up because it was 2024. But I did want to do something a little extra special on 2024's first day. So what I did was decide to go to this bridge, a dam actually, Chickamauga Dam down in Tennessee. And I parked there, and there was a path that you could run all the way along the Tennessee River down to downtown Chattanooga. And they had a bridge there you could cross. I ran down, crossed there, and came back. And the reason I wanted to go this particular distance was because it was about 7 miles away from where I started, and I wanted to run a half marathon to start the year off. So I did about 15 miles that day. Okay, so the last mile and a half was maybe walking and jogging, not too much real running going on. But I got my half marathon in. I'm tired, I can't even talk right now. And it felt great. And I was thinking on the last couple days, like I said, it wasn't a resolution for me, but I understand that this is the time of year when people get into that mentality. Let me start something new. It's a new year, new me. You've heard that before. And, you know, I was thinking about consistency and discipline and how important these two things are really for anything that you want to accomplish in life. And there have been a number of shorts and things that I've put out there on consistency and discipline recently. Go check them out. I think they're fire, obviously, but go check them out to get little snippets of where my thoughts have been over the last few weeks. And there are a couple things that I want to share with you on discipline and kind of putting it into perspective going into this new year. So one of the things I found interesting was it was a statement that said, discipline is the strongest form of self-love because it's doing what it takes to get you the things you really want in life. And when you look at it that way, it changes the perspective on it, doesn't it? A lot of times when it comes to the goals that people have, we look at the goals as things that are working against us. And so the things that we need to do to achieve the goals become tedious and undesirable to do. But what are we really doing when we avoid the discipline in making those choices? We're actually letting ourselves down because we're choosing not to do the best for ourselves when we're capable of doing the best for ourselves. So it's an interesting take on discipline. I hadn't heard that before, but it really changes the way that you look at those things that seem tedious. If I'm a student, if I'm in school and I'm trying to graduate, then why would I look at classes as something tedious? I need to change my perspective on that to say, hey, me doing my work and handling this as a priority is really the strongest form of self-love because I want to get this thing done. And I think there's a lot of irony there because really, I think when you go to a lot of different universities, it was my experience there. I'm sure for many of you who might be in university or who went through school just in general, you might have looked around and asked yourself, why are some of these people here? Because it really didn't seem like they were there for that. And, you know, some of those particular students might have been around for a year or two, a semester or two, and then you didn't see them again. And it's like, what were they doing in terms of discipline and consistency? What What were they trying to accomplish, and did they let themselves down? It's a question that is out there in some of those situations. We can't judge. We don't know all the factors. But when you think about what the point of school is and how expensive school is, I think it's a question that's worth asking. So that was the first thing. Now, let's see if I can remember. Like I said, it's 12:50 now. The time is rolling and it's late. I'm tired. But discipline, that's what it was. Discipline is not about what you do today. Discipline and consistency is not about what you do today. It's about what you're going to do tomorrow. And I didn't actually get this thought from anywhere. It's just something that popped into my mind. And yeah, I was out there and I did the half marathon, and I was on my feet, 15 miles worth of running / walking at the end there. But how many times have we gone to the gym and been there for 2.5 hours, killed it, sweating, feeling the pump, and then not gone back for another week? Or, you know, anything along that line. We'll eat healthy for a couple days and then we get tired of it, and it's next thing you know, 2 or 3 weeks has gone by and we've been eating all the Taco Bell and junk food and whatever we can find. Like, we tend to have these high moments of inspiration in that surge, and it dies off really quickly, and it feels like we've done a lot. It feels like we've done so much in that moment, but we've really missed the point of what discipline and consistency is and how we hope to achieve those goals. It's much more productive to do a little bit every day and maybe add a little bit more here and there sprinkled in throughout the days, but you don't want to do so much that you outpace yourself and you end up losing the discipline, the consistency, and the desire to accomplish the goals that you're trying to accomplish. So I wrestled with that because I wanted to be consistent and have discipline in my approach to running, right? So I do this half marathon on New Year's Day, and yesterday I said, well, I can't stop there. I have to go at least for a run. And in my mind I said, even if it's 1 mile, I have to go do it because I want to keep up the consistency. I don't want to get used to resting and stopping and being inactive. So I went out and managed to actually run 2.5 miles. And I was very pleased with that. I felt good. My legs felt good afterwards, sore in the moment, but quicker recovery, I think, just because of running more often. And it's like, when I'm saying this because it's very easy to think that if I did 15 miles yesterday and I only did 2 miles today, that I'm not seeing any progress or I'm not getting any better. But that's the secret of consistency and discipline. It does not matter how much you're doing every day, as long as you're doing something every day. Keep doing something every day. That is being consistent. That's the definition of consistency. And that's how you exercise your discipline, by realizing that, hey, I might not have I was out there for 3 hours and 10 minutes running. You can check it on the Strava. 3 hours for 10 minutes running that 15 miles. And I was out today for maybe 20, but that's okay. Like, just because you don't have 2 hours to get the full workout in doesn't mean you can't get down and give me 20. Stay consistent. Stay exercising that discipline. And that's how you keep it up, so that when you do have those windows, you have more time, you're able to take more advantage of that. And so this kind of goes into the other thing I'm trying to do as well. I like posting videos, I like talking my thoughts out here. I think it's a fascinating concept. A lot of what I see on YouTube, people doing the same thing, and I enjoy it. I like having the platform to be able to speak out uninterrupted, so to speak. But also looking for feedback and the constructive criticism, or just the criticism, to see what the people think about what I have to say. It's a very interesting way of going about presenting yourself to the world. But this is something, like I said on November 20, I said, I've been dabbling with YouTube and making videos and kind of sharing my mind for a long time. And I have not been very consistent with it throughout that time. So it was November 20th. I said, from this day, I want to post something, whether a short or a long format video, for 365 days straight. That's what I want to do. That's one of my goals. So I have that set as one of my goals, and I don't have the day count for you now. I just know that when I left to go down to Tennessee on, what was it, December 17 maybe, I was at a 28 or 29 day stretch. Well, shoot, December 20 passed, I was consistent. December 30, this is January 2, 3rd now technically, so we're up to over 40 days now. And to me, it's like, it's doable. And that's the other thing with consistency and discipline. When you start out, it seems difficult and challenging, but the more you do it and the more you stick with it, you start finding more opportunities to do those things that you're wanting to do. And that's the key. I think that's the big encouragement as people are starting to get into the resolutions and the different goals and new things that they want to embark on at the beginning of this year. I think it's important to say, you know what, part of this early part is going to suck and be uncomfortable and weird because it's outside of my normal schedule. I haven't done this before. So there's going to be that transition time where you're trying to fit something in that wasn't even there. It didn't exist in your schedule or in your life before. And that's okay, but you have to realize that there's going to be some tension there, and don't let that discourage you from continuing to try to fit it in, because the more you do, eventually it'll start carving out its own space. All right. So stay motivated in that regard when it comes to the goals and the things that you're trying to do. And the last point I think I'll make on this, when it comes to consistency and discipline, is that once you start taking a couple steps, you start thinking about those goals and those objectives differently. For example, when it came to running, this is something that I had a couple really good influences on myself to do consistently. One was training for the marathon, even though that was back in November, and unfortunately after that I didn't run for like a month, so I wasn't very good there. But the gymnastics team, I'm an assistant coach for, the head coach, shout out to Coach Richie, making it happen out here for us. He challenged the team to run, I think, 500 miles over the Christmas break. And so this was an opportunity for me to say, you know what, let me get back in to running and do what I need to do. Everybody knows me as the runner because of the marathon, the Spartan races now. So I gotta live up to the name, you know. And I'm running, I'm consistent, getting a few miles in here and there, getting the longer runs in as well. And Strava, they set me up. They set me up. I ended up getting a good handful of runs in right before their end of the year. You know, like Spotify does their recap. Strava has one too. Didn't know this because it wasn't until this year that I started using it, really. And it was really cool because it showed me all the details from all my running throughout the year. Obviously, there was a ton of running because of my marathon prep. And I think in total, I hit maybe 320 or so miles, which isn't a lot, but to me, it was a lot. And in my mind, I was thinking, man, that's it? Like only 320 miles? Like I'm sitting out here. I know that a couple years ago when I was in Sparta, I ran when it was at like 30 degrees and raining. I'm out there in my spandex pants and that's it, just making it happen. And it's like, I can handle the cold. I can handle it when conditions are not the greatest. I ran all summer long in preparation for the marathon. I ran a couple days when it was raining. I have not yet run in the snow, but I'm sure I will get my opportunity here soon, as it is Michigan in January. But I'm looking at the number and I'm thinking, man, starting this year and trying to keep up with the team as I'm running my miles and getting them in to show up as a coach. And like it's ridiculous, but this number of 1,000 miles pops up into my head. It's like, man, I should aim to run 1,000 miles this year. I did 300 last year. 1,000 is a jump. But at the same time, it's like, once you start breaking through those small barriers, it's like, what else is possible? And think about it like this, all right? 1,000 might sound ridiculous, especially if I only did 320 last year, including the marathon that I did. But there are 600, like I said, it's late. There are 365 days in a year. Somebody told me there's 366 this year because of leap year. I haven't confirmed that, so don't quote me on it. But if that's true, and you run 1 mile a day for 365 days, you've beat my total from last year. A mile does not seem like a lot, but with consistency and discipline, you can put up huge numbers just by sticking with it. And a mile is not a lot. And so really, if you look at it, if I were to go up to 3 miles, a 5K every day, that would put me at more than 1,000. That's crazy, because after having run a marathon, 3 miles doesn't really feel like that much to me anymore. It used to, but it doesn't now. So what's stopping me from really doing that? The number, based on the steps that I've taken to this point, that number doesn't seem so big or unreachable anymore. And it's like that for all of our goals and all the different things that we hope to do. You take the first couple steps, your perspective changes. You begin to see you're capable. You stick with it, and as you get closer to those goals, or just as you move further along that path, your vision at this point of the path is not the same as it is 2 steps into the path, 5 steps into the path, 10 steps into the path, and it continues to change the further you go along that path. So don't get stuck in the mentality where you are right here and right now, because 2 steps or a few steps into the path or the goal or those impossible dreams that you think will never be achieved, you're going to start to see things a little bit differently. And that's where the magic happens, because now you're thinking, well, shoot, what happens if I take 3 more steps? What happens if I take 1 more step? Where are you in life right now that 1 step might make a difference? You might not even know. Where are you in life that just a couple more steps might make the biggest difference and change everything about your perspective? You might not even know. But if you have these goals, and if you have things that you're pursuing, you have things that you're following after, you're dreaming for, take those steps. Be consistent, have discipline, stick with it, and you're going to be able to accomplish a whole lot more than you think you can. I believe that for you because I'm seeing it happen for me. So, hey, we out here, you know, and hopefully a year from now, I'll be able to say that I finished my 1,000+ miles for this year. Hopefully by that time I'll be able to say that I posted every day for 365 days. Hopefully the other goals and the other things that I have, you'll be able to see that I did those things as well. And not just that I stopped there, but that my perspective changed. I viewed things differently and saw even more ways to improve. But you can't do that standing still. You can't do that staying in your comfort zone where you are right now. You have to move. You got to take that step. This is the way. Got to make it happen. But anyways, speaking of making it happen, I'm about to make some sleep happen. So, you know, like, subscribe, and share. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But you know how we roll. I'm going to get some sleep. I'm going to be right back at it tomorrow. So until then, peace.